Welcome to the Precisely Data Integrity Suite. Today I'm going to be demonstrating a data integration and data observability use case. All services and all use cases are underpinned by our suite foundation, which includes our configuration as well as our catalog, which is required for all services. Under configuration, we would configure our data sources, our replication connections, engines, and agents, as well as sample storage, how we import data, more importantly, our security and our AI manager that allows us to really manage any use of AI within the solution. For data integration, we utilize replication connections. So here I can add a new connection utilizing our pre-configured pipeline engine, or I can edit existing connections. So here, if I go into edit, I could also catalog this here as well. Here in edit, we give some high-level information as far as description and what type of technology we're utilizing. And we determine whether we're going to be doing continuous replication, mainframe replication from Z or IBM I, or we're doing both. I would again include my replication engine, our IP address or host name with our port number, and then here is where we would add any use case specific parameters that we would need to accomplish the data replication according to the organization's use case. Now that we've configured our data connections, we're going to move to how we're going to move this data. So in our continuous replication, which we're going to focus on today, as well as mainframe replication, we have projects, which is the top level of kind of the pipeline. And so under projects, we actually have the pipelines that are doing the work. So here I could create a new pipeline, or I can go in and start and stop this, or edit this configuration as well. Most importantly, most users, once the pipelines are created, are just going to want to drill into it and understand here in our overview. We see that all of our required parts are in OK status. We can check the health of the pipeline. So the engine's looking good, replication is OK, what our version is currently, and how our log reader is responding. On the right side panel, I have kind of our source information and our target information. And then I can review any backlog or latency. Here we see we have no backlog and the latency looks good. And then finally, I can go in and get our high level details on how many, how many rows we sent, how many were received and applied. In our overview section is where we would also go to view any type of alerts that were produced by the pipeline engine to really ensure that we are staying on top of this data movement. Now that we've configured our pipelines, we've taken data from legacy systems and moved that into more modern technologies like Google BigQuery or Snowflake, Databricks, etc. We want to make sure that we're keeping an eye on this data to ensure it's fit for purpose. And we do that by creating what we call data observers. So data observers provide profiling with run-over-run rules. So I would select here out of my Postgres, I would select my table, the fields, and then here's where I would configure any rules. The solution utilizes AI that's pre-trained. It does not use the customer's data to learn, to identify how often data is being loaded in our freshness observer, how much data is generally loaded through our volume observer, and then it keeps track of the schema of the data set as well. So field types and column names, etc., to ensure that we don't have any changes that might break downstream activities. In the data drift, our customers have found, especially around like BI and AI use cases, a lot of value in this observer. So here we can use our AI to do confidence-based, or we can set our own parameters as far as percent changes from run over run. But the important parts, I feel, are the unique value count, keeping track of means and standard deviations, as well as the distribution of value counts. When any of the data drifts start to produce alerts, that can be an early indication of data issues that might cause problems with BI reports or even cause your AI models to hallucinate. So now that we've configured our rules, we would simply set this on a schedule and then identify the stakeholders that need to be alerted when alerts are tripped. Which brings us to our alert section. It's kind of a dashboard of the different alerts that data observability is going to produce. So here we have them separated into our critical and our warnings. I can select our critical alerts in data drift, and I can see where we have huge spikes in the data where we produced alerts. So again, this is an early indicator that we might have a bit of a problem, or we're not keeping track of the freshness appropriately. So to recap, I was able to use our Data Integrity Suite Foundation to configure data connections, agents, and replication engines. Also configure integration pipelines to be able to move data from legacy systems to more modern technologies. And then keep an eye on that data through data observability, being able to configure our own alerts, as well as being able to review dashboards of any issues.